right, this is the Best Experience with your host, Nick Best and the Angry Dad. And before we get into today's podcast, I'd like to thank Barbell Apparel, premium athletic wear engineered for performance with a tailored athletic fit, refined clothing for an athletic body type. Evolution Athletics, a supportive gear company owned by Brian Shaw, four-time world's strongest man and strongest man on earth. We believe in all athletes and supporting their journey towards greatness. Iced Up Industries, $50 off any purchase with code BEST at checkout. And guess what? The best ice baths, the best plunges for the best price, and you can get $50 off with code BEST at checkout. And with that being said, Nick, introduce our guest.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Roger Lockridge. He is a writer of everything lifting on so many publications. And it's amazing that we get to have you here because I am so looking forward to talking to you. You just did your first powerlifting meet. So I can't wait to go through this and hear how it went from everything, every part of that, because it's an amazing thing to stand up there and get up there and all the eyes are on you, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's on you.
Yep.
So it's going to be kind of neat to hear what you went through and stuff. So,
yeah. Well, Nick, first of all, it is always a pleasure to hear your voice, see your face, and be on the camera with you. It's an honor to be on your podcast. Ben, we've done this a few times now, and
yes, we have.
It's a privilege. Thank you so much for having me. And after 14 years of working in this industry as a writer and looking for the right opportunity to actually step up on a platform, I felt like I had kind of reached a point where I had to actually be in the arena and actually not verify that, I belong in the industry, because I think I've kind of proven that with how I take care of the athletes when I feature them, and people had seen my success story as a transformation. But
100%.
It was an itch I have wanted to scratch for many years, and this year was the year I got to scratch a few of those things and check a few things off the bucket list. And the meet was one of them, and I will tell you, spoiler up front, it will not be the last. This wasn't a one-off.
Sweet.
So I was talking with my wife about it. I would like to actually try to compete at least twice a year, maybe once in the spring to early summer, and then another in the fall.
Perfect.
It was an absolute thrill to do it, and I love being on here to talk about it.
Right on. So training went up to it. Clearly, it went okay. So, I mean,
training went okay up until the end.
What issues you had going up to it? So, go ahead, explain that.
Yeah. So the decision was made in July, and it was an early September meet. So I only gave myself like 6 weeks of prep. But I'm kind of a fickler for technique when it comes to training anyway. So it was just a matter of figuring out what my numbers were. And talking to people like yourself in the past, Ed Cohen, Dan Bell, Joe Sullivan, I'm blessed in my position because I get to talk to so many legends and world champions. And one of the things I had been told almost across the board was just don't set goals for yourself. Just make sure you get 3 good lifts. Have fun with it. Don't even worry about weigh-in, and just set yourself up to get those 3 white lights 3 times, and then you can worry about the other stuff later. So I kept training for it as simple as possible. I focused on technique. When my wife was over in my barn with me in my home gym here in West Virginia, she would give me the start, press, rack, or start, rack, whatever the commands were. And she would occasionally give me cues to remind me, hips when, I'm about to walk out the deadlift. So training for that part was going amazingly. And then the Monday night before my meet happened, and I made the rookie mistake, which I guess I'm a rookie in powerlifting, so I guess I'm allowed to make the mistake.
Just a little bit.
We decided we were going to have pizza one night for supper.
I see Nick's face.
I went off of the diet plan for one night, and worst mistake I could have made. I had food poisoning. Yep. I lost, I think, close to 10 pounds in 4 days. So weigh-in definitely wasn't going to be an issue at that point.
That's a great weight. That's a great weight cut, dude.
I tell you what, man. No sauna, no hours on a bike, no sweat, no nothing would have took that place.
Yeah.
I literally did not train the last week at all. I was going to do minimal anyway, but it was absolutely none at that point.
Okay.
And It was a 4-hour drive from the house to the meet because I wanted to do one that was in West Virginia, my home state.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that was in West Virginia during this time of the year was up in Martinsburg, which is the Eastern Panhandle. And if you look at a map of West Virginia, I'm in the southeast part of the state. So I literally drove across and up all the way through Virginia to get back into West Virginia for my weigh-in. But it worked out. I ate nothing the morning of. I just drank water and drove. And I ended up weighing 10 pounds under where I was supposed to have weighed in at. So all good on that front. And then for the first time in, I believe, 3 days, I had a full meal at a local restaurant there before we checked into the hotel.
How did it feel after that meal?
I ate slow. I took my time with it. It wasn't terrible.
Good.
I got through it. No major issues. I may have got 5 hours of sleep at night, I think, because of the energy and the nerves just from being there.
Normal.
And the morning of, I was hoping to get a real good breakfast in too before I showed up at the gym for the meet, but that didn't happen. So it was a Greek yogurt, and I can't remember if I got a Prime Energy drink or a C4, but it was that was pretty much it.
Okay.
And then showed up, did a second equipment inspection just to make sure everything was I was good on all that. Took my time warming up. It was more mental for me than physically. I just had to try to get all the jitters out.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the funny thing about powerlifting, and both of you know this, but for the listeners that may not, I was the only competitor in my division, in my category, 125 kilo masters raw.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing about that is, even though I'm the only competitor, I can still lose. I think powerlifting is the only sport where you can be unopposed and still lose, because if you bomb and you miss out, you still don't get a total in. So
true.
One of the first things I wanted to do was make sure I got a good squat.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm in. Then I'm a powerlifter, and then I can relax and just let everything go.
Right.
But my energy was still down from the previous 3-4 days, the 4 hours of travel, the not good sleep. And caffeine from an energy drink is just not the most optimal form of energy. But I believe I opened, my numbers were low and they were not very good for what I was wanting to do. But the fact that I just got lifts, and again, I didn't care about numbers. Open with 275, dunked it. I think I went to 314, 140 kilos, so 308.
308.
Dunked it too.
Okay.
And then I got 150 kilo, 330, and I was hoping for 350 for my meet, but I didn't think I had it in me. I didn't take into account the adrenaline of being on the platform in front of the people. And I mean, it was a full gym, but it wasn't a big gym. But there's still people there, and you're still in a WRPF. I guess I should have mentioned that. It was the WRPF West Virginia Legacy Fall Open.
Okay.
And it was in a town called Martinsburg. If you're ever traveling on I-81, Martinsburg is a great town to stop at. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
But 330, it felt like nothing. And it was like, okay, I'm in. And, that was an easy lift. I'm better on bench. I feel confident on bench. This is going to be a good day. So should I just keep going, or do you got any questions you want to ask in between?
No, you should keep going,
Okay.
but you realize there's a mathematical formula for how much weight you lose to how many kilos come off your lifts that happens. And
I know now.
For every pound, it's like 2 kilos.
Right. Yeah.
So if you were expecting 350 and you squatted 330, that's about where you should be with that kind of a weight loss.
Yeah. Yeah. I know that now. I didn't know that at the moment, but at this point, adrenaline's pumping, heart rate's up a little bit, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling confident, and I'm better on bench. So I'm thinking I'm going to crush bench. And I open with 320 pounds. So I guess I was 142.5 kilos. And no, 145 kilos.
Yeah, 319.
319. And I thought I'm going to smash right through this. And by the time I got the bar down, it felt like the press command took 10 seconds. I was not counting on that. I was counting on a 1001 press, go. this particular judge did not. It was an extended pause. I barely got it. And when I got up, I felt like crap. Not mentally, physically, because now the adrenaline's worn off. And now the butterflies are gone. And yep.
You're crashing.
You aren't seeing this. Nick just did a down motion and he was 100% correct. So, second attempt.
Yeah.
Second attempt was going to be 325. I only went up 2.5 kilos and 147.5, and I missed it. I got stuck about halfway up, and I just did not have the gas to lock it out. And of course, as soon as the slightly went down, the spotters did what the spotters do. And the spotters at this meet were incredible, by the way, so I should shout them out for that. Because they were protecting everybody very well. Nobody got hurt at this meet. So I racked it, and I was like, okay, I know I'm not going to get whatever this lift is. I know I don't have it in me. So I waved off my third attempt.
Sure.
That was rookie mistake number 2. Not from a lifter standpoint, but from a kindness for the sports standpoint, because I realized since I waved off my attempt, that was one less minute the other guys got to rest. And it was like, man, I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just at least given a crack and just called it a day. That way those guys could have had some extra time. But
kind of depends, actually. Because if you're competing against them for best lifter, that's better.
Well, yeah, that's true too. But best lifter wasn't even on my mind at this point because
I know.
It was just a matter of getting through it. Now, but to be clear, meets 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, however many more I'm going to do, there's going to be some more competitive juices flowing. But between the first meet, the food poisoning, the travel, and I was going to have to travel back, like literally whatever trophy I was going to get, if I was going to get one, I got to get in the car and get home.
Grab it.
Another 4-hour drive. So I wasn't going to waste around very much. Then came the deadlift. And my goal for this was to get 1,000-pound total for my first meet. So I was just going to play by ear with the 3 lifts. And Nick, I don't know if this has ever happened to you or not, but it felt like I got a second wind. I'm not sure what happened, but I kind of sat. I chilled for a few minutes. My wife was rubbing my neck, rubbing my shoulders, and it was like, I think I'm feeling better. Let's go and give us a go. And there was also some Skittles going around, and I grabbed me a few Skittles. Those probably helped.
A lot.
Yeah. So
believe it or not, a lot. A lot of guys make mistakes like that, and they haven't eaten very good. They haven't done all these things. What's the one thing your muscles want? Glucose.
Calories. Yeah, calories and glucose.
Sugar. So you give them some glucose, and all of a sudden you start going, "Oh, I feel better."
Yeah. So the opening lift was 315 for deadlift. In my mind, I was going to have to get, I believe, 340 or 345 for a 1,000-pound total if I would have met my other lifts.
Right.
From where I was 20 pounds down on the squat and however many pounds down on the bench press. I don't remember what I had for my goal for that. I was like, okay, now I'm in some trouble. So let's just get through it. 315 went up, went down. And the first thing I was telling myself is don't drop it. Because, of course, you have to lower the bar under control. So green, white, 3 whites. 150 kilo was next. Same thing. Like it literally felt the same way as the 142.5, the 314. I mean, literally boom, boom, up, down. So my wife and I were doing the math, and I would have had to have pulled 355 pounds. And of course, since they're in kilos, that means I would have had to have went up on the other end. So it was 358 total, and I think that's 160. No, 162.5.
162 because 160 is
352. Yeah. So 362 or 162.5 kilos is what I was going to pull, but there was a break in between. One of the lifters was squat and bench only. He opted out of the deadlift. Somebody else waved off other attempts, so all of a sudden it kind of got condensed. So the promoter was like, "Let's give these guys a few extra minutes."
That was nice.
Yeah. So while I'm sitting there talking with my wife about it, the promoter had come over, Robbie Von Schlag. He was like, so how you feeling? I'm like, my goal was 1,000-pound total. And he goes, what do you need? And I'm like, I think I need 355 or 358. So 162.5 kilos. He goes, so I guess you're going to try 162.5. And I just looked at him blankly and I was like, no, I'm going to get 162.5.
Nice.
Some of the people in the crowd heard me and they're all like, yeah, let's get it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And my wife was like, he's got an iron will. Like, there's just nothing that's going to break him. So my time comes up. The first time on that day, I kissed my wife before I went to the platform. And the food poisoning feeling is coming back. Still, now it's kind of like, okay, let's just get through it. And for whatever reason, I don't know what went through me, but 358 just shot right up. Like it felt like it wasn't even in my hands. And I got the down command and I got my 1,003 pound total.
Nice.
Didn't even give a thought about best lifter, but it turned out I was second best lifter. Completely unbeknownst to me. And I got my master's win, and I got my cool little skull trophy that's sitting in my bedroom. And
Nice.
then we stopped at a diner to grab some lunch for the road, and then the 4-hour drive back home. There wasn't much celebrating to be done. But
I understand. You got to drive.
Yeah.
It's still celebrating in the car on the way home.
Yeah. Well, as long as the food I ate was staying down, it was like, yeah, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah. True.
But yeah, overall, it was a memorable experience. It wasn't exactly the way I had it played out in my mind, but nobody plans for food poisoning. But nonetheless, it was I'm glad I did it. Barbend actually had me write an article about it, which is kind of the blessing and the curse of being a writer in this industry.
Yeah.
because that's one of the few times I actually get featured as an athlete on one of these sites, but I'm the one that's got to write it.
Exactly. And pose for the picture.
Yeah. So
yeah, but you're good at that.
Yeah. I guess if you're going to have your story told, you want to be the one to tell it, but
you tell it right.
Yeah. But at the same time, they don't go to Nick Best and say, hey, Nick, write your bio for, the 735 you just pulled last week in your training, or, Brian Shaw didn't write his own retirement article. You know what I mean? I wrote it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, from that standpoint, that was a little weird, but, nevertheless, to be featured on Barbend as an athlete, and
that's pretty cool.
And that's 8 months after I was featured on Muscle and Fitness as an athlete.
Yeah.
We spoke about this earlier this year, Ben. I don't know if Nick knows it or not, but I did the Arnold Schwarzenegger training in January. February.
Yeah, I know.
The double split was, that was insane. And I actually just saw this the other day. Arnold came out with a book this week. It's called Be Useful. And he had written in the book that when he created that double split training, he had to have 2 training partners because nobody was crazy enough to do the full training with him.
Yeah.
And I did it by myself for a month.
Yep.
So, I reached out to the team about that. I'm like, is that true? Nobody else did the full thing with him? They're like, nope, you're one of one.
That's
and
it.
So
you got to talk with Arnold too about it.
Yeah, I got to see Arnold at the Arnold Classic in March. Those pictures are on my Instagram at Roger Lockridge if people were interested. And, I got to talk to him briefly about what I went through and all that. And one of the only things he really said to me was, he's like, you're a crazy bastard. Like, yeah. Yeah. I had to have been crazy to have taken it on.
With the accent?
Yeah. I can't do that. I'm not even going to try, but he was like, well done though. He was like, that was awesome to read from my team. They were sending me updates. I actually found out his documentary had come out in June, the 3-part thing on him. When that was being filmed, that's when his team was telling him about what I was doing. So in between takes, they're coming up and they're showing them videos of me doing lifts, or they're showing the training log I'd submitted to them to verify I was doing it. To have that verification in the bodybuilding world, and now to have this meet for the powerlifting world, not that I think I really needed it, and nobody's ever really called me out on it, but I do feel like it kind of verifies me as someone who's been in it. I know what these athletes have gone through now, and I could speak better to their performances. I rarely ever critique anybody when it comes to something they do on the stage or on the platform, but just to be able to say, hey, I know what you're feeling as an athlete. It does give me a little bit of credibility.
Yeah.
And now when somebody doesn't have the greatest day, you eat something bad, you do this, but you still put it on, you still pull your pants up, and you still go out and get it done.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of heart right there, because a lot of people fold when stuff like that happens. So it's really cool. It's really, really kick ass that you went ahead and did it anyway, and traveled and did all the driving and everything else. So that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And to know that I've been talking and working with guys like you and all the female powerlifting greats. I've covered Jen Thompson, Hunter Henderson. The American Pro is coming up here in a couple of weeks. When I see some of those lifters out there in Manassas, Virginia, I could tell them, hey, I'm a WRPF lifter too. I've actually done this. And when I go to the Olympia this year, I see some of the bodybuilders. Hey, I know what you've done in the gym because I trained like the most intense bodybuilder in history. It was there's times I've dealt with issues when it comes to confidence, but things like that definitely serve as boosters. And, not that I would ever claim to have ever walked on the same hallowed ground as some of the greats out there, but to know that I've at least participated in the sport that they've done it was a pretty big deal to me personally.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool accomplishment. Yeah, it really is, to feel, hey, I do this, I know it, I've lived it, and it's amazing, and I'm going to keep doing it. So yeah, it's pretty freaking cool.
Oh yeah. One of the things is like, doing this podcast, doing filming, and just being around all the athletes, like, just like you said, it's like having that little bit of extra confidence, because like, oh, I can do this. I can step up with these guys. I can, be on the same level as them, because it's like, like, just like you said, you get to see all the athletes, you get to do all the riding, you get to interact with some of the greatest in the world. But it's nice to have that little bit of gym clout, gym boost, pro stat, like master's class. Like, no, I got my master's. I got, I'm saying, I'm in this too. And it feels good, because like a lot of times, like, I'm always feeling like I need to prove myself when we're doing things. I know I don't need to, but it's because we're involved, and I'm, just being there. And you just want to have that little bit of a, like, oh, I do this too,
Yeah. Well, the way I've always looked at it is I've always wanted to be in this industry, but nobody really gets in it the way they originally thought they were going to get in it. Like, Ben, I'm not, as many podcasts as you have done, I'm sure when you had first started wanting to do this, you did not imagine yourself as a podcaster. I didn't envision myself as a writer. I just thought I was going to be a success story that was going to be able to inspire and help others reach their goals. And if I got to be a part of some of the big events too, then that would be a nice little icing on the cake. I didn't know writing was going to be the way I was going to do it, but I've written over 3,000 articles. I've covered over 70 world champions and, 11 world championship events. And, I think my credibility on that side of it has been established at this point. But the thing I always wanted to do was to be able to say I was an athlete, to actually have gotten on the platform, to have actually gotten on stage. And there's been something every single year that has held that up. And this year was the year that it finally got to happen. And, hopefully it won't be the last time, because like I said, I'm going to try to hopefully do a meet every 6 months. As long as nothing crazy happens in life outside of the platform. But, to be that, to have that extra connection into the industry, the 17-year-old me that was walking down the road to the gym back in the day, would have been proud of that. So, that was for the beginner me. Absolutely.
Hell yeah. Yeah. It's the back, it was last month was my first WRFP event just going. I've never I've never competed powerlifting. I've never really trained powerlifting. I always did bodybuilding style of everything I've done. But being there to watch Nick and Justin's Nick's training partner, and him coach him in the back in powerlifting, the intensity, the mental fortitude everyone was having to just emote out of them about like trying to get these lifts, and Nick there being like, you guys need to have fun. You guys are too much in your head. Like Nick was giving advice to everybody because he could see the tension in the room, and he was like, look, go out there and do your best. Have fun with this. And it's like just that environment that was there is just something that like most people won't experience, because a lot of people train on their own. A lot of people have their training partners and keep to the group, but like having that camaraderie of powerlifting and that connection between everybody that was back there, it was tremendous to see. And it's something that's I'm happy to be a part of in my way, and just sit there and try to help promote the sport and show the sport. And then watching you guys like actually do this, it's freaking, it's insane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, on my side of it, I never imagined people would be that interested in me actually doing it. And again, it wasn't like I was getting a bunch of criticism from people because I had never done it. But there was always that vibe, or there would occasionally be that vibe when I would show up at an event and I would talk to somebody in the industry, okay, you've never done this. But, then when the Train Like Arnold thing happened and it developed the kind of following it did. And then when people found out I was actually doing this meet and, there was actually some buzz around it, people wanted articles about it. The people up there wanted to talk to me about why I was doing this and, ask me for stories about my experience in the industry. And, to have the platform like Barman to be able to share my experience and to see all these readers, telling me how inspired they are and how they're going to be doing their first meet in a few weeks. And that was crazy. I never imagined that. And then
exactly, you have an influence on people, whether you realize it or not. And it's awesome. It doesn't matter. You don't have to get into something and be the world champion. You just have to get into something that you like to do and go do it and enjoy it. And you're inspiring other people to go do what you like to do and enjoy and what you follow and love. What more is there?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And 95% of the people, at least, that do powerlifting, bodybuilding, whatever it is, there is something about being on the platform or the stage or under the bright lights, whatever it is. But a lot of it is the actual process, the training, the work in the gym, the sets with the partners. And the biggest thing about the event for most of them is not being under the bright lights and actually doing it. It's the camaraderie of being around the other people that you've been watching and have been putting into work that you have, and you don't get to see them all the time. So the fact that all these amazing people gather in this one place to take part in this sport and enjoy the sport and each other and hopefully inspire some people they've never met to do something better themselves. It's all that made it worthwhile. And I think that's why it was a better experience for me overall, because I already knew that. I appreciated that. And I made a point to acknowledge that throughout the entire process from start to finish, even though it was only 6 weeks.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And the thing is next time, 8, 10, it doesn't have to be super long. You just have to get in shape, plan out your lifts and go do it.
Yeah.
It's that simple. You picking an opener, if you can do 3 with it, that's a good opener. Yeah. And then take a decent jump and then a small jump.
Yeah. The way I had it in my head, if AR lifters decided they want to try this for their first meet, I did do the opener with the triple. Whatever I could do for 3 reps at any given point. If I could roll out of bed and go with it for 3 reps, that was my opener. And then I always played the second one by ear for all 3 lifts. It was, okay, how am I feeling right now? I wanted this, but if I'm feeling like I can do this, I'm going to go ahead and give it a go.
Yep.
And then lift number 3, I went for broke. It was like, okay, let's chase a dream. Let's see what we can do. I didn't lift over 350 at any point in my training. So the fact that I got almost 360.
Yeah.
And because of the pressure of getting 1,000, the people there, the fact that the process was almost over, I wanted to finish it on a good note, and I wanted that 1,000-pound goal. It's crazy. The 2 things I wanted the most was the 1,000-pound total, and then number 2, to see myself on open powerlifting.
Yeah.
Because of the thousands of times I've went on that site to look up lists for other lifters, like such as yourself when we were talking about the 800-pound squat, 2,000-pound total for the number of years in a row you have.
Right.
I just thought, man, it'd be cool to actually see my name on that site just once. And it's on there now. And that was kind of like okay, this happened. I did this. Yeah. So, again, the kid in me, and even though I'm 42, there's still a pretty lively kid in me. I absolutely loved it. And, now it's like, okay, let's see how many pages I could rack up on there.
That's it. And so, like you said, in 6 months, you're going to get ready to do another one. Yeah. And have you scouted any any shows that you're like pointing towards, like, oh, okay, now that I've done the one I wanted to do in Virginia, and you want to do, are you going to go out of state? Are you gonna or just try to stay local in the area, or is there a particular show you'd love to just step onto that stage that is like one of these nationals or one of these ones that they host everyone there?
To be completely honest, I haven't given it any thought, because literally 48 hours after I got home, I had to start working on coverage for the Mr. Olympia and get right back to work. The week after the Olympia, I'm taking a 10-day vacation. And nice. during that vacation is when I'm going to actually scout out my 2024, and I'm going to find my meets. It doesn't have to be in West Virginia at this point. I would rather not have to fly to it. I would rather just be able to drive to it. because again, like Nick said, I ain't trying to win no world championships with this, but now that I've gotten a 10,000-pound total, I want a 1050. So
There we go.
if I could
And
drop
it's
somewhere that
strange.
maybe a little bit less than 4 hours, and now that I have a better gauge of how my body works when it comes to planning for a meet, let's see if I can get 1050. And then if I can get 1050, we'll see about 11. And I'll let whatever the awards come through with that will be great. But I'm a numbers guy. And if I can see that I improved even by 5 pounds, there's my progress. There's my win. You know what I mean?
There you go. Hell
33 pounds a year on each lift.
Yep. That would be
That's it.
that would be incredible if I
You
have.
can do that. You can do that easy.
Oh, I think so. I think so
You can
too.
do that easy. Do that 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Doing pretty good.
I would definitely take it. I think by that time I'd be 45, 1,300 pound total for 45-year-old.
There we go. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to have those goals. You got to see that line. You got to aim for that, because let me tell you right now, that'd be a nice impressive total there.
I would take it. I'll take it for sure. We'll see what happens with it. But yeah, if nothing else, Nick, thanks for the friendship. Thanks for the inspiration, because I mean, I've been following you for years, of course, long before we became friends. And to be around a lot of people that I've been around in this industry is a lot of big reason why I wanted to do this. But also, to get the comments like I've gotten from people that are like, "Hey, I'm gonna do my first meet, and you gave me the shot in the arm I needed. I'm gonna try to beat your total. Do it, please do it, please beat my total, because then now it give me a reason to do better for the next one."
Exactly.
And if High Tide raises all ships, then the entire sport will benefit from it. And if I get to be a small little part of that, man, that would be a thrill.
No, absolutely. And you know what? You are.
Mm-hmm.
You are. You're a part of that. You are a part of that. And it's freaking cool. It really is. Now, I got a question for you. Did you wrap your knees, or did you go with sleeves?
Sleeves. One of the reasons I didn't get to do this sooner was because in 2014, I was training for a first meet, and I was going to go wraps, and I guess I miswrapped my right knee, and it just did not go well. I had 375 on the bar, and the wrap came completely undone, and my knee buckled. So it was like, nope, I'm going sleeves from here on up. I don't even want to have to worry about the issue. I went sleeves, basic belt, basic wrist straps. Of course, the singlet. It was just a basic Enzers singlet. I think a lot of people thought I was going to be rolling in here with a bunch of sponsors because I'm a writer. And, because I have connections in the industry. So they were kind of surprised when they saw that I had the basic minimal equipment I could have possibly had. As a matter of fact, the owner of the gym that I was competing in saw my belt and was like, "No, man, you need something better than that." So he let me borrow his belt.
Oh, that's cool.
So the belt you see in the photo on the article on Barbell actually isn't my belt. It belonged to the gym, and they did have me sign it though before I gave it back to them. So
that's cool.
I thought that was a nice little touch. Make me feel special before I head out the door.
You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Yeah. So that was it, and it'll be sleeves going forward. I won't do wraps. I doubt I would do anything equipped. I got to try a bench shirt once 20 years ago, and I just couldn't perform very well with it. So
I would definitely revisit the knee wraps though.
Well, what it might be is Nick's going to need to give you a tutorial on how to do it, because Nick's like a machine when he wraps his knees, man. And the thing too is, like, everyone out there, I record him wrapping his knees all the time and throw it into videos because how impressive it is. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he's a methodical with it. It's always the same technique every single time because of how many times he does it.
Mm-hmm. But you can put extra help in places you need extra help, and you can leave it looser in other areas where you don't with the knee wraps. You can't do that with knee sleeves. What you have is what you have. So if you feel part of your knee that's a little off compared to another part, you can put one more wrap around that area. So it makes it real nice. And then you can also take them off, and then the blood flows back and everything else, where once you put the knee sleeves on, you're stuck. So you pull, or you got to take them down and pull them up every time, which is actually a lot more difficult than wrapping.
Yeah, for those who've never actually used knee sleeves, you know what I'm saying? It is pretty hard to get them off and on.
But I think you might be surprised if you figure out how to do it. we get it on there correctly,
Mm-hmm.
how much better your knees will feel, because you want your knees to last as long as possible. And the
Right.
knee wraps will protect more than the knee sleeves will.
That's good to know. Considering I had a history of knee injuries from basketball anyway. That's
Yeah. So
yeah,
you'll
that might come in handy.
because you know what area of your knee that's a little unstable, right?
Yeah. Yeah. With
Yeah.
the knee, it's near the right side. With my left, it's right below the kneecap.
Right. So you reinforce those areas as you're wrapping your knee. You have a knee technique for your left, and you have a knee wrapping technique for your right to add the stability that you need individually to each leg. You can't do that with a sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah. The protection is 360 all the way around. So, or the pressure, I should say, not protection.
Correct.
But, yeah.
So, but you can't add more here and take some off there. But it's my soapbox. Sorry.
I hope your listeners are taking notes right now. I mean, it's not often you get this kind of advice from a legend.
Well, it's probably one of the reasons why I've squatted the way I've squatted so long, because I always use knee wraps.
Yeah.
I mean, don't use the 3 meters, the 2.5s, but and then USAPL used to be 2 meters. That's all we had. So, you're gonna get support out of it, but they'll last longer with the knee wraps than they will with the sleeves. Sleeves are great. I love them for strongman. I truly do. I use the heck out of them in strongman, but strongman's not squats. It's not powerlifting. So it's a little bit different. I like the protection, but that's just me. So, and everybody's themselves, and they can choose what they want. Yeah. Just my 2 cents.
Got it. No, that's appreciated, man. I mean, that's part of the reason I love doing what I do, because I get to learn.
Yeah. But you did great, man. I'm really, really proud of you. I mean, you really did awesome. It's kind of a neat thing.
It's pretty cool. And when I first started talking about doing this, Dan Bell was one of the first calls I'd made, and I told you I wanted to do it as well. I think I told you a year ago.
Yep.
But then my wife was diagnosed with cancer, and then got put on hold. So and my wife's cancer-free now, as a matter of fact. October 15th. Crazy coincidence. Today's the 1-year anniversary of her surgery that led her to being cancer-free. So that literally just dawned on me as we're talking right now. But yeah, that's what kept me from doing it in 2022.
Something a little crazy with that. 3 days ago is the 1-year anniversary that I found out that I had it.
That's crazy.
October 12th is when we found the tumor.
Yeah.
So my surgery was January 3rd. That'll be a year for me.
I actually remember you telling me one of the times we had talked before then, it was like, dude, you have no idea what the craziest coincidence is. My wife just got her cancer-free diagnosis. So maybe the fact that I had found out, it's kind of like the universe was like sending you good vibes. But yeah, that's what held me up a year ago. Of course, the pandemic held everything up 2 or 3 years ago. But this is something I've been wanting to check off for a long time, and I didn't think it was going to get the kind of attention it's gotten, but I'm glad it has. And again, I feel like, not that I needed the extra credibility or the extra verification, but just to be a part of the game now, to be the quote unquote man in the arena, for once. There's been so many of these media people in sports, they get criticized because they've never actually stepped on the court or on the field. Right. That argument no longer applies to me. So it's a thrill. Yeah. It was a thrill, and I love being a part of the sport. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, sweet.
That's what I'm talking about. And man, Roger,
I got a couple questions though. Still,
go right ahead.
Let's go.
So, what do you think of Brian doing MMA?
Oh Lord, I saw.
Because you're probably gonna have to write about this.
Well, if it hadn't been for all the Olympia coverage going on, I probably would have. But I think somebody at Barman's already beaten me to it. But I had seen an Instagram video of him throwing a punch, and it was like, I would not want to be the man that was on the receiving end of that. Good Lord. And I mean, it's not like he's going to drop 100 pounds in 6 months or anything like that. So for
super heavyweight.
Yeah, no, I think it's going to be vastly different than what we saw from Thor and Eddie. I think it's going to be vastly different when it comes to that. I would not be surprised to see him in the 375-pound range, because he already does a good. He's a lot more active than people realize, and he's very cardiovascularly sound.
Yeah.
So I think a little bit of a weight loss, you're going to see a lot of massive speed increase from him.
Yeah.
And I think you could see him fighting somewhere between 350 and 375 through that. And what people don't get about him is his mobility.
Right.
Quick feet.
He has hyper mobility. I mean, that guy, he'll be able to put he would probably be able to put somebody in a triangle choke.
Yeah.
I don't know if me tell you right now, I don't know if there's enough room between those thighs to get a triangle choke.
Well, that might be true too, but I could see him with the mobility to do that.
Oh, with his mobility and his explosiveness. Because that's the thing a lot of people don't know. Yes, he had static power strength. Nobody on this side of the screen is going to be questioning that. But his greatest strengths were his endurance and his mobility. That's why he excelled at some of the things like the bag of the bar or the keg toss or the Atlas stones for so many years. Because, he could get down, up, and move. And plus he had that explosive power behind him. I don't know about a triangle. I can see somebody trying to work something on him and then him all of a sudden spin into an arm bar and call it a day. Yeah. Can you imagine them big freaking arms getting somebody in a guillotine?
You'd get lost behind that mass. You know what I'm saying? You'd only see him on top with an arm coming out between the legs.
Right. I don't know if he'd be able to do like a rear naked choke though, because of the size of his arms.
Well, it'd be a head crush. That's basically what it would be. Because even when you do a neck torque, like, because a lot of times you get the submissions where they just catch the jaw and then they just pull the jaw in. So I could definitely see him with the size of his arm. I wouldn't even know if it'd be legal for him to do it because he would be covering nose and mouth at that point. How big his arm is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta really think about that.
That's why I'd be concerned about. That's why I'd be concerned about a guillotine. For him to be able to get somebody in a front face lock like that, it'd be over. Like they'd have to tap, otherwise they'd suffocate.
I'm just the thing that really comes to my mind is someone's head coming apart if he drops an elbow on them, because he's gonna be able to reach back super far and come down. And he comes down with all that force. His abdomen is so freaking strong from all the deadlifting and Atlas stones over the years.
The density that he has, yes, that's
he drops that, 18-inch forearm onto somebody's skull. Yee.
Right. Now, I'm not a regular. I don't talk to Brian on a regular basis. We see each other occasionally at events, and I've interviewed him a couple times now.
Right.
I actually wonder if he chose MMA because of the fact that Thor and Eddie did boxing and he wanted to do something different.
My understanding is they came to him.
Really?
But I could be wrong. But from the stuff I kind of saw, and I watched the video and then I sent him a text. I'm like, because he put up a post to him and he was like looking like he was going to drop the elbow on somebody. And I'm like, oh, that is the most terrifying thing I think I've ever seen, because I've been very fortunate enough to get to roll around a little bit with, some very good
Frank here.
And I'm not good at it at all, but it was fun. I got to do that and I learned some things, and you get a whole different respect when you do stuff like that. And it's knowing what little I know already, I'm just like, wow, because he's so physically strong and his cardio is so good. If he gets very good at the absolute basic stuff, like if he learns enough to be like a full-on blue belt,
right,
the black belts are going to just have all kinds of problems with him because he's so physically strong. And if he gets the basic stuff down so technically well that it's he's got, it's set.
Yeah.
It's going to be a nightmare for somebody, because with that big body, he doesn't have to worry about stand-up. He just needs to do enough stand-up to kind of like keep people
pretty much just for defense. Not even really for as much offense.
Could you imagine a leg kick coming from that guy?
Oh, no.
Like someone literally picking up the telephone pole and hitting you with it.
He has horse thighs. They're literally, if you put Brian's thighs up against the horse they're horse thighs. If he kicks somebody,
it'd be
like
a
a
bad
Spartan kick.
Yeah.
it would, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking. The Spartan kicking 300.
right? Exactly. Yeah. Except for he goes about 20 feet further.
Exactly. They would go through the cage on top of the judges or the announcers, whoever's right there at cage side.
That's
right
But
into
with
Rogan's
him,
lap.
exactly. But with him being as obsessed with mastering things as he is,
That's the other thing.
like if it comes to a simple jab or a hip toss, whatever the move is, he will practice it thousands of times until it feels as natural to him as walking. So, someone like that is more dangerous than somebody who's effective of trying to get like a Superman punch in, or somebody who's going to be bound and determined to get somebody into an arm bar. Because Bruce Lee's even said it, I'm kind of messing up the quote, but pretty much he'd be more concerned about somebody who's practiced something 1,000 times than somebody who's practiced 1,000 things once.
Yeah.
Correct.
And Brian is that dude who would try to practice the one thing 1,000 times. He excelled in strongman for a reason.
Yeah. So it's, like I said, I'm actually kind of looking forward to this to see one, where they're going to do it, which I'm sure he probably already knows, but I mean, one step at a time. Who he's fighting and kind of like what the series is going to be, because I can't see him just doing this once. He's kind of like an all-in guy. So if he goes all in, I don't see him doing this just once. So it's gonna be fun to watch.
Something, knocking on wood, that doesn't happen. Something would have to go either extremely sideways, or something would just have to be a better opportunity would have to come along, like a much better opportunity would have to come along for him to not do this with the full commitment that Brian Shaw typically does.
And I can see, as successful as Brian is, and he does very well for himself, for him to go into this, it's probably going to have to be worth his while.
Right.
So I don't see that being a small number either. So.
The comparison I've made with him is with Jay Cutler in the world of bodybuilding. And it's funny, they actually have a same manager Matt. And the common thing is they both excelled in business so they could excel in their sport. Brian, he has done so many things in the world of business that allowed him to keep doing strongman the way he did it. And Jay Cutler did the same thing. So if this is something that Brian is actually going to take his eye off of the ball, even for a split second, he's coming out of this ahead one way or another. And hey, kudos to him for it.
Yeah. I just can't wait to see what he comes out with for MMA fighting.
Is Evolution Athletics going to have an MMA department?
It will have an evolution.
Yep.
So, but to me, they make the best stuff to use in strongman. So, I mean, I don't see him making anything. If he does do that, it'll be probably the best stuff you can get your hands on from MMA as well.
Yeah, I can see it happening. There's no doubt in my mind. What about you, man? How's that grip training coming? Because I hear that there's a record you might be maybe thinking about chasing.
Yeah. Well, when I let that thing go in Norway, I did not realize the record was 90 seconds. I was like, that'd have been good to know before I went, guys.
Right.
Thanks. Because I just like, hey, cool. Because the first time I ever did it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I can see why I didn't get this as one of my events. So yeah, I'm starting a little bit of grip training for that type thickness of a bar and stuff like that. So
it involves 100-pound plates.
Yeah. 100-pound plates, and then gripping the end of a bar. I set it in the bench press rack, and then I pick up the 2-inch side with about 6 plates on it. So that helps the crushing strength. And then I started throwing in dumbbell shrugs with the 150s, the 50 without straps.
Yeah.
So those things, your grip gets a little better when you do that. Plus, I'll start doing farmer's walk again too.
Yeah, I've actually been doing farmers, suitcase holds, things like that myself, because another thing I'm wanting to do in 2024 is a arm lifting meet.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I got to interview Ricardo from Muscle and Fitness because Arm Lifting USA is doing their world championships at the Olympia. And I was like, man, I would love to get into one of those at some point because it's, I've just been wanting to try all these different strength sports. He was like, you let me know when, and I'll find a way to make it happen. And Virginia is a pretty big state for arm lifting, and that's right next door to me. So I can get to a meet within a couple hours. So I'm ordering equipment. I'm going to hopefully have it out here in the next few weeks. And, I'm really ramping up my grip training. So once again, you're inspiring me, Nick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen this or not, Ben, but he had done seated rows with some stupid amount of weight for like 30 reps. And
I was the one recording.
Okay. And I had seen it and it was like, I couldn't do that, but I wonder how much I could do. So I loaded up my stack machine with like 200 pounds and I actually got it for 30 reps.
Nice.
So I thank Nick Best for the inspiration. You did the 150s on stiff like a deadlifts. I don't have 150s here. So the best I could do was my 105s, but I got them for 15 reps.
Nice.
So you're the rabbit I keep chasing in a sense, because I want to be able to do something at least respectable to what you do. And it always seems to be a new little incentive for me in training.
Oh, well, thank you. And I appreciate that. And it's what keeps me motivated is watching people go out and inspire them and then see the results of them going and taking and doing some of these things. And that's what makes me want to just keep on going as well. I mean, I want to keep on going because I love the process. I love the training, but I also love sharing it and teaching and showing and leading through examples. So it's fun.
You're one of the people, you benefit from other pioneers in the sport, and now you are that inspiration for so many other people, me included. When I was talking to people about doing the meet, I had mentioned you by name as, one of the guys I'd seen, from where you excelled in both strongman and powerlifting. I got to meet Ed Cohen 10 years ago. We've become friends. I've been friends with Dan and a couple others, and it was like, man, I really want to do this. I want to get on that platform. So from a fan standpoint, thank you. And from an athlete standpoint, thank you. But, and again, the fact that I was able to do what you did in the form of inspiring others to want to do this, best way to give back to it.
Oh, right on. Right on. Thanks,
and
Roger.
With that being said, Roger, we had you on here for about an hour, and what you said is going to blend extremely well because Nick has a famous saying he likes to say at the end of every one of these shows. Nick, can you give us those words and let Roger know?
Well, Roger, thanks for coming on again. I love it every time we talk, every time you're on and everything else. To everybody at home, use Roger as an inspiration because I do as well. So to everybody, train hard, train smart, and be the best you can be.